Acorns for a while. So now they just came out with this Mighty Oaks card where you get I think 3% APY and then 5% on emergency fund. So
All right. So let's get into it. Let me
okay,
move this.
let's finish this.
I want to show you something first because y'all just asked. Okay, so this is where I'm gonna break your slides up. So I was in the workforce. Well, this is Department of Labor. So let me go back because Price asked me about apprenticeship. So these are the categories of the grant types that Department of Labor has, right? But initially, when I looked up, I was actually looking for grants for hold on, what's this tab? I was looking for grants right here. Here we go. All right. So where am I at? The Department of Labor. Yeah. So Department of Labor. So when Department of Labor put out grants, these are the category. These are the target audience that they're looking for. So you got your teens and your youth. You got your low wage workers, women in non-traditional occupations, people with disabilities, veterans and returning service members, previously incarcerated youth and adults, tribal communities and rural communities. So when you think about programs and you're thinking, you're saying, okay, I want to do something to help the community. You can't just say you don't want to just say, I'm want to do a teenage youth program. You want to kind of speak to the objectives of the grantors and what are their categories? Who are they looking to fund? Right. And so a lot of times, sometimes, especially when you're talking about training programs, I like to come to the Department of Labor website or the Department of Education or any government agency and see what type of grants that they're putting out. And I use them as a shell or a template to create a proposal for maybe a lower level grant. So I figure if I write to the highest level, then I'll beat the objectives of the lower grantors, right? So when thinking about teaching an investment program to a group of these categories, because this is usually the categories of people other than, and we'll go to some of the other agencies and see who they're targeting. But this particular organization always putting out grants. So of this demographic, which of this group would you look to train?
Are you saying from Chris Project?
Yeah, or Chris Project in particular, because that's what I'm working on. But just
Hold on.
anyone, right? Because what you're gonna do when you're gonna go out, I'm not so there's gonna be so when you think about your program and how you can monetize it, you want to think all different areas where you can maximize your where you can maximize the opportunities. So you'll have that group that has nothing that you're not going to put a title on, that you could solicit and you could get individuals to participate in your program. Then you're going to have opportunity with the local, state, and government agencies that's going to want you to be specific about your target audience, because they're going to tell you that you can't teach everybody everything. Like, you got to narrow it down. It may be too broad, right? Or if you teach a group of people or you gather a group of people, you'll find out after your first class that you probably need to separate them, right?
Mm.
So you want to kind of start thinking about how to narrow your audience, because you can't teach everybody. You have to go after this particular audience. Now, will you have the opportunity to teach everyone at some point? Yes, you will. But when you're going after funds, you're gonna have to narrow it down and find an audience, because grantors fund um an audience. So they're looking to see what are you doing. Every now and then you may find someone that may say, "Oh, it's a community project. Okay, I'll give you 5,000, 10,000, 20,000 towards that." But then there's some people like, "Well, I'm only funding, low income, low wage earner. I'm only funding senior projects. I'm only funding returning or people who are looking to change career fields. I'm only funding women." You know what I'm saying?
Mm,
So you will either want to have all of them as a target audience or you want to speak to a target audience. So for me, I have found out that I only want to train individuals who are already in business that knows their skill set but have a hard time with the administrative side. So you could have been in business for 15, 20 years but struggle with, what I would love to expand. I know I need to get me some government contractors under my belt, but I just don't have that administrative piece. Can you train me or train my staff? That's my audience. I already know. Or a beginner who's trying to put it together. I don't want to talk to nobody who, they thought it was a good idea. They have no clue how to do the work because you can't get in the government contract like that unless it's drop shipping. Yeah, you might be able to get away with that, but as far as services, nah, you get found out and get kicked out in the first 6 months.
mm,
You have to at least know what you're doing. Because now the administrative piece might be new to you. They may have a different system. You might not be familiar. I could teach you that, but I can't teach you how to get out there and scrub that floor and put a shine to it. I can't teach you how to, driver safety. I can't teach you how to measure for your engineering project. I can't teach you, and the list goes on and on and on. I can't teach you that. You got to come in with that skill set. And a lot of times when people try to get into government contract or they try to get into grants to get funding to do something, they don't have, they may not have the skills. They just thought it was a good idea. Hey, I want to get paid through grants and I don't want to pay taxes. That's pretty much how they come. That's not my audience at all.
mm,
you know, because you can't hide from taxes. You're gonna have to pay them one way or the other. I can teach you how to write it in so you can get paid, that kind of thing. So when you think about the target audience, this is where Department of Labor is putting their money. This is the people, this is the groups they're putting their money into right here, right? Now, I like to use them uh because I'll go to current active grants just to write to something and I'll say, okay, view the grants that are already have already been funded or that are
mhm.
active, and I'll click on it, but I don't want to go to this one. Let me back up.
Okay, so what you got going on here?
I want to go to, let me back it up. Find a print. So there's, somebody asked about apprenticeship. That's what it was. So let's see. Um, Find available grants. So here we go. So these are the grants that are open right now for Department of Labor, and they'll tell you the due date. So got some that just recently opened, and they say who can apply. And you'll look down this list of organizations, and most likely you would fall right here, 501c3 status, and sometimes you may see um for profit. Every now and then you might see for profit, right? But most of the time it may be the 501c3 status. And then who is it serving? A lot of times we fall in right here, the underserved communities. A lot of times that's our audience, right? Opportunity youth, or maybe even rural areas, and maybe even women, right? So you have to keep in mind, you say, wow, oh, there's a grant open, I want to do to it. And you say, well, who's your target audience? Oh, I want everybody in the community. Well, if you send that grant in, you're probably not going to get funded. You have to list one of these, got to at least be in your audience when you write it out. And it opened on the 15th and it's due by the 1st. This particular one, youth bill. Now, when you go to and this one is open ended unemployment, insurance, labor research center. This is for higher institutions. This is what I be talking about with our HBCUs. When I say we have to start leveraging grant, HBCU should be looking out there to see what government agencies have available. Most likely, higher learning is always a part of the conversation. Always. You
Mm.
just have to start writing to it. See what I'm saying? We really have to just start writing to it. But let me back up because I'm gonna show you how to organize. We're gonna show you how I'm gonna show you. We're gonna organize these slides. Let me go to apprenticeship.
Okay. Come on and show us then.
Okay, this is
Message.
this one didn't even come up. Look like I gotta find it from another area. What's going on?
Italian thing.
Maybe it was some type of something. Maybe I can get through it on here. Okay, so we'll find another way to find. I got another way to go in and look for it. Let's
No.
yeah.
What more got going on?
Huh? I ain't got nothing going on. I'm gonna go to
Scamming.
don't be saying that. Hold
Yeah.
up. Go back. Uh.
Oh, Mo.
Huh?
Oh, I told Price what happened with the. Remember the videos I was showing y'all the other night with the brother?
Yeah. They got Fed charges in it.
Crazy, man.
Money laundering.
Yeah. I don't know what's going on with that.
I don't think it's that big a deal, Chris.
I don't
Well,
either. I just
I
hope.
ain't gonna say I don't think it's that big a deal, but I mean, go ahead, finish your thought.
I was just gonna say the sneaker community do. When something like this come out, the first thing they do, and it's always white folks. Oh man, they just be saying little snarky comments. And I'm like, y'all, okay, y'all in this group, y'all in his Discord group, you buying his products, but you in here talking shit about the man. You don't know the story. You ain't did no research. All you did was read, a news release. The man is not being convicted. He wasn't arrested. So, you know, smart people normally would, you know, reserve too many comments until all
Into
the
the
proof come
truth.
out. Yeah. They had to mute the whole damn Discord group, except for our little private group, because people just kept talking shit in there. And I'm just like, well, that's what happened when you're a black man and you got some businesses and you on top. Uh Motherfuckers will just flip the script on you.
Well,
Yesterday it was all good, and today it's a different story.
well, here's my thought on it because you broke that news on us, and then Ms. Mo broke us some news on CG Ping from the Binance CEO who got a $4 billion fine, and I thought that was significant because both of these stories had the same talking points: KYC, anti money laundering. It's
Yeah.
two different industries, two different sectors, but it's the same thing. So I'm saying all this to say, uh, yeah, I won't. I believe we need to do business, but the brothers claim they say he didn't report transactions of 10K or more.
Mm.
That's and we throw the term out there, anti money laundering out there when you do stuff like that. And then
Right.
it says something about, oh, he sold some sneakers outside the U.S. when he wasn't supposed to by contract. He didn't have
Mm.
no contract with the government. So I'm just saying. And then the story even said, well, he hadn't been criminally charged with anything because
Right.
all this is alleged. And I'm not trying to cap just because this is a supposed black guy, but what I'm saying, how many times do we see a J.P. Morgan, a Wells Fargo, a Exxon, a AT&T pay a fine for whatever practice, and
Right.
nobody goes to jail?
Right.
So
Yeah, and and you made mention about the oh, what did you just see? You said it
the Binance CEO, the crypto exchange guy,
Yeah.
yeah,
You got to pay a fine. That's it.
yeah,
yeah,
and
50,
but
50
I'm just
million.
saying they did
Yeah,
a
but
whole press conference. You had just let me roll for 10 seconds, Miss Mo. You had the treasurer, uh, the SEC guy up there, the FinCEN lady up there, and all of them came up there and did this big old hoopla like they did something, and all they say this guy was anti-money laundering because he didn't abide by our KYC and AML rules, and we're going to enforce the law. But mind you, that organization had a Binance Global and it had a Binance US, and it ran them out of all these countries because they weren't doing something. But like I said, there's a whole lot of threads to that narrative, and I thought all that was a bunch of BS. But
Yeah. I feel you, good
was
brother.
gonna say what when I made the comment in the chat, I made it to the point of with this fin with this fencing to bring Brandon up to speed because he wasn't here. With this fencing deal they making us apply for, when they kept making they kept speaking to the point of it's you have to abide by the law and businesses, they have to be in compliance and they have to follow the rules. So when you made mention just a second ago and say, oh, he didn't report something over 10,000 or so, and that's the
right,
little thing they're gonna be trying to hem people up on, is the fact that when you making certain transactions and it could follow your I guess it would have been. I guess he had to make a transaction on an account that's monitored, and anything over 10K gets monitored.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever it was, and then it just probably wasn't documented wherever. Like you said, both of those stories broke at the same time. They probably was supposed to be registered in this system right here, and they're not. And I think that's how they're trying to hem people up, and it probably had something to do with the same thing. But I think that this is what this system is going to try to do to people who are not reporting um finances. Now, how they gonna figure that out? I guess they're gonna follow your acoustic number on these apps that are
Mm.
that are sharing, and I guess that's where people like these payment systems come into play. Cash App, PayPal, Zelle, Square, you name it. In my opinion, I mean,
okay,
where
You,
else would they find the information from?
Ms.
Right.
Mo,
I was gonna.
well, go ahead, brother Brandon.
No, I was gonna say when you guys talk about the guy, the CEO from the was it Bitcoin thing or not Bitcoin? What
Uh,
was
Yeah,
It was
Binance.
Binance,
Yes.
It was
Binance?
VP.
Co- Thing about that is, it's like really they're still talking about you know um, how to monetize it still. And was this before? Or was this after that he did this whole thing?
They're trying to say they said that he well they said that he started the account, he started the app, and it was supposed to be American subscribers. Then something he filed this paperwork, this, that, or whatever, and then he went global and he was supposed to stop the US subscribers, but he labeled them as unknown. And he still had 17% of American subscribers in the company that were trading, and then they wouldn't follow the rules. That's kind of what I gathered from it. That the company, I guess, the larger it grew, that he wasn't
Mm.
in compliance with U.S. rules, and so they had told him to stop, to remove the U.S. subscribers, basically saying he didn't have enough risk controls with that company, and so they had asked them to remove the U.S. subscribers, and then they said they had did that, but they labeled those people who still had accounts unknown. It was UNKN or something like that, and when they went in to investigate, 17% of those people were still had those accounts, and so they kind of hemmed them up on that.
Okay, hey, can I stop in there, Ms. Mo? Because we went through like several intersections.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
I'm
when you
sorry.
talk about that. No, well, it's all good because I mean it's good dialogue. Let's first get this out here in the open. KYC, AML, everybody does that.
Mm-hmm.
From your local bank to your Acorns to your Robin Hoods or your Weebles or whoever. Anybody that's in any type of finance, you go through some type of know your customer, anti-money laundering protocol to verify you are who you are. You know, you take a picture of your driver's license or you answer some questions when you call and talk to somebody. Can we
Right.
agree?
Yes.
So all
Yeah.
that other rhetoric that they put out there in that press conference that we have laws, that's bullshit. They don't have laws. The fencing is trying to save face because they have been going through Congress all year. Congress makes the laws. Right now, we have these government agencies that's out here doing they're regulated by enforcement instead of making the laws. If you was to go to the SEC website or anybody website, say, "Hey, I'm going to start a business. What does it take for me to do this type of business?" They should be able to tell you. They cannot do that for any type of blockchain business. Now, is this second point? This guy CZ Ping, Binance is not an American company. It was a company doing business, and this is to your talking point when it said, "Hey, we told him to
Yeah.
stop doing business with Americans." We couldn't
Yeah.
even do Binance here in Texas because it was not allowed in Texas. The workaround to doing that type of stuff, which I don't endorse, because I hope we're not online, we're
Why?
just talking amongst ourselves, was to get a
Oh,
VPN.
that we online.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
I'll leave that alone. But so that's kind of a Nick's Nine type thing when you say he still had American customers because I mean, they got a solid business model, they got a good product, but people, there's a workaround for that, and there should be some owners. I would never do it because I said, man, this dude, I believe everything is traceable on the internet.
Yes.
They can, you know,
Uh,
but he took the fall for whatever percentage. We watched Binance over the last couple of years get kicked out of Canada, get kicked out of more states in the U.S. So all, I just think that was a bunch of smoke and mirrors they was pushing up, talking about we're going to enforce the law. You're going to enforce KYC and AML, and mind you, they do have some type of protocol. It's not a very efficient protocol to do KYC and AML, but Binance did. It's just that you got even locked out depending on what your state was allowing. So, and all that stuff about terrorism, how can me buying crypto off an exchange have me doing business with somebody in Iran? Did y'all catch that? Because I was going back and forth in our back chat when they was making all these talking points, trying to make it seem like they was doing something. Is that guy angel or a saint? No, I really think they mad because he the one that
Broke the
ex-
code.
well, I ain't gonna say broke the code. He's the one that exposed Sam Bankman-Fried, the one who they gave a clear license to go out here and defraud a whole lot of people. But that's a whole
Mm.
nother rabbit trail. Let's deal with the rabbit trail that we own. So I'm saying all that to say that there's no clear legislation because the Congress hasn't made anything. And they hit a $4 billion lick, and they trying to come in front of the cameras and say, "Look what we did," and them Negroes ain't did nothing.
not at all.
Mm.
That dude is
Mm,
from China. That's a global company, largest cryptocurrency exchange. He's from China.
Who
Got him.
did? You talking about got
mm,
it?
$4 billion worth. Nah, I mean that is kind of shady
yep.
for somebody to do that, to take that money away from. I mean, again, it goes back to the statement I made. Like, was that Was that monetized before or after?
I
Like,
mean,
can
I'm
you
not. You say before or after? What do you mean?
like Binance was created? Like this whole thing was created. Was this like were they able to physically collect funds from other people in other countries for this to
Well,
be legislated or put into law just yet? Because it's not fair if this was happening before the actual crypto laws and everything else was starting to be established. Then hit them with this bill like, oh no, you've been doing shady business behind
the,
America's
the
back.
the thing he's guilty of is, I think, at best, he's guilty of violating
The counts.
anti-money laundering and KYC protocols within the
Yeah.
U.S. But this is a global company.
Yep.
As far as before or after the laws, there are no crypto laws. They have no. We have no legislation on
Yeah.
how to do crypto law.
Basically saying he can't do. He's not registered in the U.S., so he can't do business in the U.S.
Now
Well,
he was
that's gonna
registered. Go ahead.
no, I was gonna say that's gonna put a damper on a lot of these crypto exchanges because some of these crypto exchanges, I know one in particular that I'm on. That's not. I want to say it's not registered, but it's well known.
It's not that they're not registered; they're not doing the anti-money laundering and and to know your customer protocols.
Yeah.
I mean,
Mm.
because I know a lot of guys that they get on these exchanges, just like you said, Brandon, and they out here getting, and they brought, if you notice, another agency that they brought in was the commodities train, CT commodities, the futures guys. You had that guy
Hmm.
in there talking about,
Yeah, they had
yeah,
them in there too.
Yep.
yeah,
Yep.
Mm.
we're going to enforce the law.
Oh
And
God, darn it!
because they let a lot of these exchanges let you do futures type trade. They let you do longs and shorts
Hmm.
on different cryptos, and they make fees off of that. They make money off of that. And is that predatory? I would say yes. But you know what the environment or the business model, what it mimics? It mimics a casino in Las Vegas. It mimics the lottery that people go every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and every Tuesday and Thursday for the Powerball and the Mega Mills. It mimics those business models. But
Yep.
Yeah.
I won't even
Sports
get
betting,
into that.
basically.
Yeah, but yeah. So I'm just saying that they kind of tilting the scales, and they still haven't outlaid. Hey, this is how I want you to operate. Is this type of exchange?
Mm.
And
I
then
know.
once they, so what? So what you say? Once they govern that particular law, or whatever, or come up with that type or any type of mandate that suits them, it has to be that. You think?
I'm just saying they came out there today like they talking about enforcing the laws, and I'm saying it ain't no laws. The only
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well.
Definitely ain't.
He's the
you
Definitely
gun
know,
boss.
but I mean that guy is worth. He's a founder and investor, and he was a CEO. I don't think he's no longer the CEO, but it's not the first. I mean, Coinbase was under. It's got a lawsuit going on, and it's a publicly traded company that was approved by the SEC. They getting sued. I
Mm.
think Kraken got sued. You saw
Yeah,
what
that's
happened
just
with
the way.
XRP and Ripple. They got sued and won,
Hmm.
and but we still have no clarity on what regulation looks like for moving forward.
right.
And
I don't think it is. I think it's just a money grab.
what? And that's my point right there. I told you, ain't nothing going down unless I can get some money. That's why I put the King of New York guy in there. He said a nickel bag gets sold in the park. I won't in. And
They getting that money. They getting that money from him, but what they gonna do with it?
well, that's how they
Oh.
fund their agencies, Ms. Mo. SEC
They
it has
take that.
sued several companies, and that's how they fund their operation. Instead of going to Congress, and well, they still go to Congress and say, "Hey, I need more money so I can do X, Y, and Z."
Mm.
They can hold up the market with that money too.
Of
Exactly.
course. Yep. Of course.
But 4 billion, that company Binance was the largest crypto exchange out there, and 4 billion, it hurts. 4 billion would hurt anybody, but it didn't hurt as bad.
I
It'll be
mean, yeah, like if their reputation is good and they do right by their customers or whatever, I don't think this forbearance is gonna hurt that much. But I mean, they're gonna have to persuade their customers or whoever to
yeah,
come back with them and to invest with them again.
Well, they don't pretty much blocked them out of the U.S. Canada, they no longer allowed in Canada. That was like a year ago. The U.S. I don't know anybody that can just go up on the net and get a Binance account going unless you operate behind a VPN.
Hmm.
So, but you still got the rest of the world. I don't know how they doing over in the rest of the world. I don't deal with them because we were never allowed to get with them here in Texas.
yeah.
Hmm.
Shut it down.
I shut myself down.
Uh,
I, I
uh
I thought that was real ironic with the sneaker guy because I heard the same language with the sneaker guy. But they did show. It seemed like he was getting money through the mail. I saw some boxes of money
yeah,
in that video you put out there, Chris. So I do know you got to report. You got to report them transactions over 10K. So
yeah.
So,
I'm hoping
Mo,
it
right
ain't.
quick, I was gonna ask Mo, is it 10K exactly, or can it be like $9,999?
No, they won't bother you on that.
yeah,
It's
you don't
10.
have to report that.
So what if you donated $1 out of that $10,000? You don't have to report it.
It won't be $10,000.
Yeah, I'm saying it's a
If it came in
transaction.
as 10, yeah, if it came in as 10, it's 10.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
But if you
But
bought
see,
it, or what? Oh no, go ahead. Go ahead.
no, I'm just saying that's always been the law though, for as long as I can
Yeah,
remember that they always
always been.
report anything over 10K.
Mm-hmm.
It has to be reported daily. Even if you was to do a wire transfer, you're gonna have to answer, hey, who you transferring this money to? Why you transferring this money? You got to give some explanation to the bank or the wire agent on what you're doing, and they be like, okay, you know what I'm saying?
Because the bank
Hmm.
gonna hold it.
Yeah,
I got a transaction for my company, and they said, well, we're gonna give it to you in the official check. So this way they don't hold your money and ask you any questions, anything like that. Man, I'm knuckleheads. She's talking about, oh, we gotta make sure the bank has the money. I said, ma'am, it's an official check. Stop playing with me. We know that money is available right now. Stop playing with me. Like, don't even play with me like that. I'm not even playing with you. Like, y'all better quit playing. I had to go see one of the managers. Like, y'all need to stop. You trying to make what are we talking about here? What not?
No,
You
they,
call
they
them.
make you feel some type of way. I went through that
Yeah.
with sending a wire. I had to wire some money to a contractor, and he was like, "What you doing with it? What is the contractor doing with you? Do you have all the information?" And I'm
Yeah.
like, "Dang!" And then it was one time I had some money in the account, and I had to make a payment, and I wanted to get a cashier's check. The teller got to acting all funny, and then you got a guy coming from behind the door, and what you need to do with this? I need to pay a bill. You know what I'm saying?
Like none of your business. Can I get it?
Yeah,
and
it's my
I asked you
money.
too many questions.
Yeah, it gets kind of offensive to ask them type of questions about your money, you know. But
Get a water, boy. Yeah. Yeah, it is. They will. Yeah. So
But when a
I
damn scam happen, they don't want to ask no questions. They just let the money be taken. That's crazy.
I know, right?
You was a different color hue, that'd be totally different.
well,
Yeah.
we like to think that, but at the end of the day, let's think about what we talk about. Hey, they got to report this, and I guess that's some level of due diligence. It do make you get in your feelings, especially when you just trying to do what you do, and it's your money. But yeah, but
Yeah.
I
I
think
mean,
that
So you on
Oh,
that.
no, I agree
I
with
don't
you.
be.
I mean, but like if you have X amount of money in your account and let's say 100,000, you need half of that, you know, you should be able to go to the bank and get 50,000 out. But like I'm saying, like if you're a different shade of color, that's totally different.
No, they ain't say take it out. They say put it in.
I'll put it in.
Yeah.
Even if you
That
put it in,
The,
they like, hey, where did you get this from? Did
deposit.
somebody
Yeah,
die? Or
man,
yeah,
yeah.
man, it's none of your business. And really, I mean, that shouldn't be a factor because if you have an account there, I mean, that should stop all that. If you have two or three accounts, that should stop all that with a substantial amount of money inside of it. That shouldn't be a problem.
hey, good
Like if I
brother,
was
just
a teller, if I see somebody coming in black with 300,000, I ain't gonna ask no questions. I'm gonna give it to the manager, make sure he checks it out, make sure it's put it in the bank. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
somebody gonna ask some questions. I'm just saying they're gonna, but that's all because of that anti-money laundering and KYC.
Yeah.
Leave it.
Man, I done kick myself out of Zoom.
Oh Lord.
We
I'm
still
on
hear you, Ms. Mo.
No, I'm on my phone, but I got to get back on the
Oh,
computer.
All them damn
Mm-hmm.
tabs open. That's what happened. She didn't click the wrong tab.
Yep.
so those are two things about the sneaker dude, man. I really was I was feeling the social what is it? Social
Social
So,
status.
yeah,
yeah.
you got me blocked, Chris.
Who?
Social status got me blocked. I
How they
had to
got you
hurry.
blocked?
I had to hurry up and delete that before Garfield saw it. I hurry up and got in there and delete that. I said, "Oh man,
Wait a minute, hold on. What happened?
the music in the background got me blocked.
Oh man, my bad.
They hit they hit us twice. I said, oh God, let me hurry up and delete this video. You
Oh,
cannot monetize. Garfield channel is monetized.
we're
Oh.
gonna be mad about that. Hope
No,
he ain't
I
get in no
deleted it.
trouble.
I deleted it. He normally calls me like soon as in the morning, but I got to it before he did. He probably listening, gonna call me tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
He called me tomorrow, like I heard you.
Hmm. Hmm.
Got you, Mo. I got you.
No videos, Mo. He be like, no videos. All right, let me get back to this. We playing around. All right, so this is on the DOL website, and what I wanted to show y'all, like I went to the rural community initiatives, and you could always go to see who was funded, right? It'll show you who was funded, and it'll have a synopsis. Now, when I first learned this, I used to get an entire abstract, but now they don't post the abstract. So these are all the agencies that were funded under these projects, right? And I can practically click on any of these and see how it's written up. So one of the things I did, I can click on any one of them. Let me click on this one. And so they have everybody fill out the same style template. Um,
Mm-hmm.
it's gonna come up in a second.
Okay.
So when you're writing grants and things of that nature, you always want to go to the government sites and see how much information that you can get from them as far as format, what are they looking for in a grant, that kind of thing. Because you can meet their standard, then you can meet anybody's standards. So when you look at how this grant is designed, you know, they say what the grant is, the performing period. So we have to decide. Remember, I was talking about before, when do you want to facilitate the grant and how, right? Do you want or the program? Do you want to do you don't want a program to run an entire year. So for example, when I first started wanting to teach, when I decided I wasn't going to go into the actual universities or college or tech schools to do it, I said, you know what, I'm going to just put my own training program together and I'm going to do workshops. And I first initially started off and said, okay, I'm going to do one a month. And I did a radio announcement and I had 25 people show up. I think I only knew 3 of them in the room. And I had this idea on how this workshop was going to go, and I planned it out. It's 5-hour workshop, 1 hour lunch in between, which means I had two workshops in the morning, 2 workshops in the evening. Had designed pretty good. But I realized my audience, I had some people who understood grants. I had some people who were very new. I had some people who had a nonprofit but wasn't fully registered. I had some people who was fully registered. And the knowledge base was all over the place. And I was like, oof, I did not do a good job preparing because there's no way. So being who I was, um, I would always start the class off. I always make sure they had pen and paper, and I would always start the class off with, save your questions to the end. Because if I would have allowed them to start asking questions, somebody would have got overwhelmed, somebody would have got bored, and it's kind of be all over the place. So I decided that I wasn't going to do 1 day workshops for 5 hours, that I was going to break out the workshops. And that's when, if Brandon and Chris, you might remember when I was doing 1 hour and I did it for 12 weeks. I started off doing it for 12 weeks. I was doing and I also narrowed it all the way down. And I started, no. Before I narrowed it all the way down, I just did the whole program that I had. And then I realized, like, whoa, that's not a good idea. That I really just wanted to focus on cost analysis. And then I let Janisa teach some classes, and she focused on the administrative piece, the correspondence. And so then I realized, like, whew, okay, 12 weeks is entirely too long. People start tapping out. They start missing class. They're not showing up. So I said, you know what? 4 weeks was a really good run. So I broke it out to 4 weeks, and then I took my program and I designed it in a way to be able to do 1 hour for 4 weeks. And that's when remember we had Shamika and Brandy and all them in the class, right? And sure enough, I was able to get through it in 4 weeks, 1 hour for 4 weeks. And then I said, okay, take a 2 week break and then start it all over again, that type of thing. And it kind of went over really well. So that's how I kind of narrowed mine down. So I said, okay, what I would do is I would do 4 of those a year. And then I wouldn't let somebody say, oh, can you start that again? Da, da, da. In between, I would kind of go through it and kind of show how to find contracts, how to find grants. Then I would start the class again. Then I would show how to find and search grants. Then I'll start the class again, that kind of thing. And then it kind of worked out. So I was doing 4 years. So my time frame would be like, I would have did a class in September. I would have did September because people getting ready to start at the beginning of the year. And I would have started with the feeding program and how to come up with your cost analysis for that. Why? Because the classes start in the spring for the summer feeding. And then I would have came back, and then I would have also added just government contracting period. And then grants, because a lot of the state grants, the legislators start coming back January, February timeframe. And then that's when they start working on their appropriation and their budget for the year. And so if you had that type of state where they issue funds to nonprofits, or you were in those counties that had grants for their nonprofit organizations, you would be on time for putting in those. So that was the logic behind mine. So when you're thinking about your grant programs or your programs that you're putting together for maybe young adults, youth, adults, whomever it is, you got to think about what's going on through the year. When are you going to have your most participants? So right now, we know I wanted to do a tech workshop, and I had contacted Thunder and Kyle, and they were on board, but I got overwhelmed with a project. So I didn't make my cutoff for November, but I'm going to make my cutoff for December, because we wanted to put me and my friend, because she has some high school basketball players, some teams. Their students need to do community service, but they also need to give them some uh, information about transitioning from high school to college. And so we were going to do a workshop, and I was going to have Kyle and Thunder virtually, or that maybe they would have drove down, and I was going to have them facilitate a class for me for those high school students. we wanted to do it during the breaks. So we chose this break here, but I missed the cutoff. And then now we're going to try to target December break and spring break. And so I know for students, because of sports and different school activities, that it is better for me to target them on their break, maybe the beginning of their break, or like at the very beginning of the summer, right before they start getting heavy and hot in vacation, because otherwise it's hard to capture their attention. And if I was dealing with
Right.
adults, um, a lot of times it's easier to catch adults um in the evening, sometimes one day out of week. Those days that people normally go to classes, like there's a lot of colleges that do classes on Mondays or on Tuesdays. You can possibly catch them in the evening, or maybe you could possibly do a Saturday morning. But if you're gonna do adults, if it's non-working adults, then anytime between 10 and 2 are good times. If you're gonna do, and then you have to decide, am I gonna do a one-day workshop? Is it gonna be if am I gonna have enough and then when I do decide to put my content together, is my content is going to be something I can build on. So one of the mistakes I made in the very beginning, I tried to teach a whole lot in 5 hours. It was entirely too much. So I had to break that out and say, okay, I can't, nobody want that's, it's like a brain overload, right? So I said, okay, what, for me, what is the most important aspect of my training that I think people really need to key in on? And that for me, that became the cost analysis: how to price your product, where to get those numbers from, keep you in compliance. If you got audited, know where to communicate. You kind of worked on your numbers. So instead of saying, oh, I just paid someone $15 an hour because that's what I heard the minimum wage rate was or whatever, I would always have someone use Department of Labor wage and raise rate, because for one, it gives you a good tool to give raises. So you wouldn't get caught up in somebody coming. Like I have a friend, she said, Mo, my employees, one of my employees said they need a raise and I need to give it to them, or they threaten to go to somebody else. She was like, I can get her a raise right now. And I told her, I said, remember I told you, in order, one of the tools you should have used, then this way you could have told them that you only give raises on this date and this is how much you give, and you could have used the government to play on that. That's why I did that. So now you got people running around here saying, I want a raise, and they want you to give it to them when they want you to give it to them. Like, you have to set those policies in place. So I say that to say this: if you think about, you have to think about what works for you. If you say, you know what, I just want to run these training courses every 4 weeks, then your performance period would be January through December. But if you say, you know what, people kind of get ghosts during the holidays, I don't really want to do anything during that time, then I probably want to run it maybe 3 times a year. And you have to pick the months, you know. If it's going to be a whole year, but it's months in between, you could say, okay, I want to do it January 2024 to December 2024. And maybe you have dates in between that year, but that's still grant period that you want to do it, right? Or maybe you may say, I want to run this for 3 years and have a planning period in between. So um the other thing is the amount, the dollar amount. No, so we'll get to this piece tomorrow. I'll talk about the dollars, how to come up with your dollars. But anyways, so you want to say, okay, who do I want to serve, right? Who do I want to serve? What counties in my state? Remember earlier I said, hey, we can't serve the whole world. We was looking for the statistics. You can't service the whole world. So you have to decide, if you're in Houston, what counties in Houston, who you gonna go after. So case in point, when Cheryl used to help people get those educational grants with the school system, they used to pick a county in Texas, and then they would talk to that school district person in that county. And that county, whatever that county was, then it would be broken out by school districts. So If it was more than, if it was only one county, and when you're going after grant, you may want to target more than one county that's in the area. Because sometimes, especially when these big grants, or even sometimes in that actual county, maybe instead of targeting one zip code, you would target multiple zip codes in the county. Because if you go after a county grant, a city grant, they're going to want to know, how is this, because if it's a voting system, they're going to want to know how does this grant service their constituents. So you either it's a state grant and you have to list multiple counties, or it's a county or city grant and you have to list multiple zip codes, right? If you're just starting out, maybe there's a section in the end where it says, opportunities to expand, and you talk about duplicating your program globally or across the nation or regional. But initially, where a lot of people go wrong is that they want to target the entire state, but they don't have the staff. And that's how the grant gets shot down. Because they will look and say, okay, if he wants to target 5 counties and he want 787 participants and one person, one staff member, 3 staff members, how are they going to do that?
Mm-hmm.
That's not going to work.
Let me ask you this, Miss Mo, because what Chris said, his county got more people than my state, or just as many people as my state. So,
Right.
Harris County.
is there a scenario where the county may be too big? You have to break that down even more, or
By zip codes.
okay. I'm just saying,
Right.
Harris County is that's
So let's
about
look at it.
4-5 million people.
Right. So let's look at it. Right. We'll say how many zip codes in what county? Harris?
Mm-hmm.
Harris County, Texas, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this is all Harris County. This is all the zip codes. So you have to decide, you can't service all that. So you have to decide what zip codes can you service. So you would break it out by zip code.
They all getting serviced or else.
I can't. So you have 48 zip codes. If you have 48 zip codes in Houston and you say 48, 48 zip codes in the county of Houston, then they're going to say, how do you know that you service at least one person out of each zip code? And you better have a good answer, because this is the easy question.
Tell them to ask her daughter.
Boy, I tell you the truth.
We round the city in this piece.
You definitely want to make sure you have a sign-in roster.
Yeah, I just to say you can collect that data with your intake or with your registration, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
And so that's one of the things you would highlight in your write-up, right? So that's how you narrow down the county. Where's my document? I lost the document, y'all. There it goes. All right. So you got your target. So boom, even though I switched it, same concept. It's the same grant.
That's hemmed up.
Then you want to decide how many people, how many participants do you want to have? And remember, I talked about the audience earlier. So this particular one, they're going after dislocated workers. And I think my other one, they're going after dislocated workers as well, right? So you want to know what audience. And then you have the map and you outline what areas, but they're doing counties. you in the hand will have probably one county and multiple zip codes, right? Now,
Mm-hmm.
you would write up your background. This would be about you, right? Your organization, who's going to do the training. We talked about that earlier. So you
Wait a
have to
minute.
think about, huh?
What's a dislocated worker?
I was just about to ask that.
Let's define it. Let's
It's located.
define it. I know this. Oh, let me define it. Let's do this.
And somebody gonna get dislocated.
Right.
Dislocated worker.
I'm gonna
Y'all
be
crazy.
up to death,
It's the
man.
best. It's the best word you can use. Almost everybody fall under dislocated. So you have a person that has been terminated or laid off, or receive a notice of termination or layoff from employment as a result of any permanent closure or any substantial layoff, a plant, facility, or enterprise is employed at a facility which the employer has made a grand announcement that such facility will close. So people who um are laid off from work due to the employer, the involuntary versus voluntary, right? There's some other. Let's see what else they have in here for dislocated.
Okay, so Miss Mo, so I could be dislocated and still be in the same city where I was previously employed.
Yes,
Okay, okay.
yes.
Okay.
So these are people who've been previously laid off or let go for whatever reason. Um, let's see. So this one has dislocated worker is an individual who meets one of the five definitions, has been terminated, laid off, or has received a notice of termination or layoff employment, is eligible for or has exhausted unemployment insurance, or has been employed for a duration sufficient to demonstrate the attached workforce. That's kind of like the military, but is not eligible for unemployment insurance due to insufficient earnings or having performed services for the employer or that were not covered under state unemployment compensation. That's those people who work for a period of time and haven't done the 4 quarters. Um, and or is unlikely to return to a previous industry or occupation. Those people who are in between jobs. So it's almost anybody. Let's see, because it has five, and then it has been terminated or laid off or received notice of termination for layoff from an employment as a result of a permanent closure or substantial layoff at a plant, facility, enterprise, or is employed at a facility where the employer has made a grand announcement of the facility will close in 180 days. Number three was self-employed, included employment as a farmer, rancher, or fisherman, but is unemployed as a result of general economic conditions in the community or because of a natural disaster. Number four is a displaced homemaker. The term displaced homemaker means an individual who has been provided unpaid services to family members in the home and who has been dependent on the income of another family member, but is no longer supported by the income, or is the dependent of a spouse of the armed forces on active duty, and whose income is sufficiently reduced because of deployment, call, or order to active duty, a permanent change of station, or service connected debt or disability of the member, and is unemployed or underemployed and is experiencing difficulty in obtaining or upgrading employment. And the last
Mm-hmm.
one is a spouse of a member of the armed forces on active duty and who has experienced a loss of employment as a direct result of relocation to accommodate a permanent change of duty station or such member, or is the spouse of a member of the armed forces on active duty and who is unemployed or underemployed and is experiencing difficulty in obtaining or upgrading employment. So basically, almost anybody.
Okay. Hey, so Miss Mo, let me
Uh-huh.
go and throw an observation in there.
Hmm.
So I heard all that you said,
That's a good
and
definition.
Hmm.
I heard I heard no concessions from anybody coming from behind the wall as being a
Oh,
dislocated worker.
yes. Yes, 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 yes. They fall under the category of hold on, because you know why? Because they have their own title. But they can be a dislocated worker from I think it's from the perspective of not earning the sufficient amount for unemployment, because some of them do work, but then they don't have to fall under dislocated worker because they fall under reentry or are recently incarcerated.
Hmm.
They have
Well,
their
I'm
own
just saying, but
their own, own opportunity. Hmm.
I find it a little ironic that they won't be included in these type of grants or assist. You know.
The DOL has a specific category for them.
Okay, okay. I don't want to distract you. I'm going back on mute.
No, 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 no. You're good. Because remember earlier, hold on, let me go back to it. Set up. Well, let's see.
Hmm.
Right here. See, they have their own that reentry employment opportunity. So all of these fall under DOL. So instead of you going after the dislocated grant for them, you would go after the grants for reentry, which are usually in the same paragraph of categories where dislocated worker is.
Okay, I got you. I got you.
Yeah. So they have their own little grant. Um, and then this is a synopsis, the background of what you're trying to do, right? And then this is a summary of your right. No, this is the grant that you're trying to get, and then this is a summary of your program, right? And then now this part right here. So the other two pieces you can kind of weed through, but let me get on this part right here. Um, Outcomes. A lot of people miss this, right? So this proposal is for RN CAP program with enhanced community-based primary care in the rural area, underserved Delta region in Southeast Louisiana. RN CAP qualified four-year nursing majors to first train as practical nurses, prepared PN, licensed practical nurses, LPNs, and then as BSN prepared registered nurses. Both practical nursing PN and Bachelor's of Science in Nursing programs are accelerated to reduce time to graduation. Because these students become licensed midway through the educational process, they are workforce ready to be employed in the healthcare settings. Oh, I need to call my niece. She needs to get in this program. It's right down there in the southern area, I think. No, southern is in the middle. Where's that on this map?
No,
Look, this is my
that'll be
parish right here.
no,
Where's Baton
that's
Rouge?
northeast. That's northeast of Louisiana. And that'll be southwest Mississippi. I'm looking at that. That's like around Pike County. Well, that's not Pike County in Louisiana. That's Pike County in Mississippi. But
Come on
It's too
now.
far. No, I was
what you mean?
thinking that Baton Rouge would be somewhere up in here.
Baton Rouge should be
Southeast Louisiana. But this is St. Landry Parish. This is where I'm at. And
no,
so
come back to the right. Baton Rouge is somewhere to the right. Where's New Orleans at on there?
New Orleans would be down here somewhere.
Okay,
Closest to this part,
Baton Rouge should be somewhere in
right?
that last look. Yeah, right there.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So she's at Southern, right up in there somewhere. Yeah, I'm about to tell her she need to look this program up.
Well, I was gonna say, wouldn't that program be more something that a college, a Southern University, or LSU, or
Yeah,
that
yeah,
they would scoop that up?
yeah. She at Southern. She's in a nursing program. She got accepted to the
Uh,
nursing
That's what's
program.
up.
She's a sophomore this year. She had three
so
point
how
eight.
so that grant right there, if Southern was to scoop that grant up, that would translate into like a scholarship for nursing students or something. How would that look?
Well, this grant, if they had submitted, but since they didn't, to Southeast Louisiana there and show submitted it, Southern they should have submitted. But this would have repeat your question because I done ran all over that.
No, I'm just saying, I'm reading this grant, and that's not
Hmm.
something that a private entity or individual goes for. That sounds like something that, like a college, an institution would.
Right,
And we know
right,
we got institutions right there in that area. So
right. So
I
what I'm saying
figure,
is Southern should have applied because this is in
right,
Hammond. This right outside of New Orleans.
exactly. That's Baton Rouge territory. That's
Yeah,
all I'm saying.
they should have applied for this grant for their nursing students. This is what makes me mad about our HBCUs because they're not applying, but they have these students now. So these people are getting ready to set their students up for success, and they got extra
But
money to do it.
that's crazy though, Ms. Mo. So the only school that using it is Southeastern Louisiana University. So
Well, I'll look at the list to see what other schools, but yeah, let me look at the list.
yeah. And Southern got a nursing school.
Yeah, because my niece is in
Okay.
it. They're not on here. Southeast. Look at these the schools that. Let me see. Let me before I say that. Money don't. Yeah, that's it on the Delta region.
Wow.
Mississippi got
Hines.
uh, uh Panola
Panola
College.
is down there.
Yeah,
Yeah, Panola
county.
College. Yeah. And Hines Community College,
Well,
which
they stay getting money. They had the
they
big
got
American Rescue money.
they small, Miss Mo. They like little satellite campuses all over Mississippi. They're a junior college.
Yeah, but most of our HBCUs look like junior colleges.
I ain't getting into that now. We got work to do. Don't be putting our business out there.
I'll be mad, but I'll be mad because we're not writing grants. We're not setting, we can use our students to help write these grants. We got really good students that are really good writers. But anyways, so let's look at the other states. So they're two look, they're the only ones that apply for these grants. The Delta region and the Appalachian region,
Mo,
which is
Mo, my fault. I was gonna say, you think that'd be a good business to start to help out some of these colleges out here?
man, they
What?
don't listen. I talk to these knuckleheads all the time.
No, just
No,
going directly to the actual universities or
Now,
like the
but I am
no.
gonna to your
no.
point though. Who said no? Price
Well, I
to
wanted to push back a little bit because I mean I think Brandon got a very good a good point there because a lot of colleges apply for grants to their strong points. It depends on uh
but
proximity. You know,
wait
in my little favorite college, we apply for a lot of engineering grants and we apply for a lot of urban development grants. But I'm like Miss Mo. I don't know how much this grant is, but I can't see why Southern not all over that.
2 million. Listen, you know why? Because they don't. Okay, we have to learn how to set our people up for success. If you don't understand something, go to the conferences. We don't want to spend no money, and they probably don't want to spend no money on grant writers. It takes time to do this work. And if you know you're gonna pull in funds, you should be all over these. Listen, every time Department of Labor grants should be the first place you going. Why? Because their grants always has to do with training and educating and the avenues of where our students need it the most. Job placement, setting them up
Miss
for.
Mo, I'm gonna push back again before you get on your soapbox. Southern University has a English department, and when we say grant writers, I know it is an art and a skill to this, but at the end of the day, those English people those English majors are very good at writing quantifiable statements, and that's all you have to do to be a grant writer. So
Yes.
I'm gonna say,
Yes.
with respectfully, I'm gonna say miss me with that one. Hey, somebody
I know
somebody
that's
bullshitting. That's
yes,
that's all I'm
that's what I'm
saying.
saying. We should be in there. So this
And
is what
what
I
it,
want to point out right here before before we beat them up too bad, right? This piece right here, the outcome. So if you're writing a program, okay, you want to say, okay, so they say combine 350 telehealth or uh data for healthcare continuing education certificates will be earned. So you got to look at this 350, right? If you saying this is what I want my outcome, that means out of 711 people that come through this program, I want 350 of them to earn this certificate, right? So they say I have 300 participants which receive training and services. 90% of those participating in the BSN program will graduate from the BSN and earn their RN license within 18 months of enrollment. They beating out the schools in this program for the schools. So the schools is accelerating these nurses. And there's probably a high need for it right now. They're probably losing people, right? And then it's saying 100% of the 61 of those participants in the BSN program will obtain new or improved employment opportunities within 60 days of completing the program. 100% of the 61 LPNs would have been employed at least part-time by the NOHS doing the BSN portion of their program and the NOHS as a major healthcare employer in the region. So when you're writing up your program, you're saying this is the planned number of people. So you're going to they're targeting 171 people. So this is how I like to set this up. Let me copy it. I had wrote a grant for someone. They took all the credit, but they didn't put this part together, and they scored really high. And they say, "Oh, you had the best grant write up in the program." Yeah. And they were bragging. I said, "You ain't write that grant." What are you talking about? And I had gotten the write up format from what I'm showing you guys now, but when I did it, I had received the abstract. So the DOL, they used to put the abstracts out, but I noticed they don't put that no more. All right, so here's what I'm gonna have to do. Let me minimize this and I'm gonna show y'all something real quick. I'll be giving y'all that good, I tell you. Let's do this. So I would do this right here. I would say in enrollment, and I would say 711. Let me see how I did that. Input. And this would be output. Wait a minute, I forgot to put this in. So right here, I would have I want 350 earned certificate. I think this is a little backwards for me. I think this should be on the next line. So here, so I got to get that number. So I would actually go 711 divided by 350. Did I do that right? No, 350 divided by 711. That's 40. That's almost half. That's like 49%. 711 times 0.49. 50%. So basically, they're saying they want at least 50%. Yeah. or 49%, something like that. Give or take a little. So 49%, 45. And so enrollment would be participants. Yeah. Participants who attended the orientation. So when you set up your trainings, you have an orientation session, right? And then you would say, of the people who sign up, who I say sign up, registered, people who registered, who register to attend. To attend the orientation. And then you would say, you would come up, so they said 350. So I guess you would say 50% actually showed up, 50%.
175.
How many?
175.
50% is 175?
You said 350, right?
No, 7-Eleven.
I was about to say,
Oh.
okay.
Mm-hmm.
My bad. 355.
Yeah. 50%, 49%. What's 49.5%?
Well, come on, Miss Mo. Goddamn.
49%.
Got a problem with math over there.
Oh, shit.
I think they're all for their mad.
Hey, 352. Hey, 352.5.
Brother, goddamn. Okay, true. Too damn late for this math.
I'm trying to do this in my head.
So Mo, the input is what you're shooting for, but let's say you didn't get like 80% of that. Will they still grant you? Okay.
No, because this is what you're saying that you want to happen.
Right. So let's say I'm somebody who's new on the grant game, and can I just shoot for this particular type of grant, or do I have to ease my way into it?
No, I would shoot for it, and I would write to this grant, but I would aim for lower grants, and I work my way to the big one.
Okay.
But
because you got to show.
Yeah, show a track record when you get. Oh,
Okay.
God damn it! I did it again.
With video.
Oh, I gotta figure out. One of my cards got to be loose. Missing it. Apparently, someone wants to. I keep one of the cards. You might speak with this. Turn it we get another furniture store burned down. Throw away those over sending us out on a wild goose chase. So I just put my life here. But anyways, while I'm saying that, so if you're the reason you want to write it up like this, because when you write the grant, you want to say, let's say you have 100 people that shows up to 100 people that registers, right? Well, you have to assume that 100 people is not going to show up to the training, but they may have registered. So you have to decide what number in your head is acceptable for you. 100, you're saying, I want at least 70 people. Electricity and I want at least 70% of those people to at least attend the orientation. So out of the 100 people, you should have at least 70 people in that class.
Gotcha. Okay.
Don't get 70%. then you're like, man, I ain't do well at all. I got to do better marketing type of deal, right? So you have to choose a number that's a little bit more realistic. So maybe you say, okay, like I had started when I started off with the call center, I said I wanted, um, I wanted to train 30 people in a year, and out of that 30, I wanted to have at least a 70% track record. You know what I had? You know what my success was?
What's that?
I was embarrassed. 70%. I mean, I'm sorry, 10%. I was so hurt. So I had to go back and reanalyze my program. It wasn't my program. It's the demographics that I chose. So I decided, I said, you know what? I'm gonna go to DSS. They have an on the job training program and they have a work experience program. And since they always need somewhere for those people to get experience, I'm gonna teach them the call center. And yeah, I got participants, but I had to learn that whoever you, just because it's a good idea to you, don't mean somebody's coming in to fulfill your goals. Those ladies and guys, well, most of the girls, the guys had backgrounds and they would fail the background check, but they was willing to work. But them girls, please, they want checks. And when those checks ran out, them girls ran out. You hear me?
Yeah, they ran.
Wait, wait. So wait a minute, Miss Bo. So you had a target demographic.
Oh, oh,
Hello, Chris.
no, somebody, yeah, they got it loud too. 'Cause I can't hear.
Oh, my bad.
So
Go ahead.
the target pool was 711, and
Yeah.
then you set a projection out for 350, and then you only got 10% of the.
No, no. You mixed it.
Okay,
You mixed
I
it.
lost something. I got lost
Yeah,
there.
you missed the scenario. So the 350 goes with the example we're showing on the screen. But I
Okay.
went back and I was sharing while I was getting my computer back up. I was sharing how I wrote a call center grant to uh train low income people who were receiving government assistance because they had an on the job training program and a work experience program, because I thought that would be an easy audience for me. I had an agency that I was partnering with, and it would work out well because I would automatically get referrals. Well, to my surprise, I wanted to train 30 individuals, male or female. And what happened was, I had my number 30, which I received, and I'm only was looking for 70% of those individuals to complete the call center training and get a job. And I ended up with one person in the end, 10%. Because once their federal assistance ran out, or they
Uh,
know they no longer was going to be receiving any more money, they quit. They didn't come back.
uh,
Yeah. So to my knowledge, I didn't understand the game. And had I asked questions to some of the social workers on how, what's the likelihood of these individuals, remaining in a job or even wanting a job, or just, ask certain questions, I probably would have understood that that was not gonna be the demographic of it or my target audience. And I probably should have targeted a different. So I was gonna go from them to workforce commission, the people who were unemployed. And since I had done so bad with that group, I was like, because that demographic, and that's why when people say, "Oh, I want to go help our people," I want to go help our people. We need a lot of help in the communities. I'd be like, "Good luck,"
Uh,
because let me tell you something. They look for incentives. You talking about programs they're not getting paid from? If you don't have an incentive type program, they're not coming. They're
yeah,
not coming. You
I
might
agree
get
with that.
one or two. You might get one or two, but honey, they are not. If you're not giving something away, if it's not monetary, it better be something tangible. You're not gonna keep their attention, or it better be a 1 day workshop. They just not. They'll give you a hard time, and you be like, man, why wouldn't they want to learn this stuff? This gonna put money in their pocket. Da 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 da. Shit, huh?
would you would you would you say a certificate would be like tangible item?
No, you bet that
Really?
certificate better have some money. Let me tell you, when I did the reentry program for Representative Johnson, we
Yeah.
had gotten it accredited through the college, through the University of South Carolina. They got so they can get into college without no red tape. They got the 2 CPE hours. They was gonna let them into school if they wanted to start school. So these were people who were recently incarcerated, and
Mm,
then we got them jobs lined up because we had partnered with different manufacturers or whatever to get them jobs,
yeah.
honey. When they got and record expungement, we helped them pay for their record expungement if they had items on their record that we can help them get off. Honey, let me tell you something. We now with that piece because we got them jobs. We probably was betting probably 65% because a lot of them had transportation. They was able to stay on their jobs. The ones that didn't have transportations, it was hard for them, and we never could kind of. We were new. We didn't lock that down good enough to get a van and be able to have a driver take them back and forth, that kind of thing. So the long term idea was to get a driver that was part of the group that would drive, and each person would pay $4 or $5 a week to help, that particular initiative. But that part didn't really go over well, because we started getting involved with other stuff. But that because we were getting them a job, that one was good. But the one where they had to go through those classes and they didn't really want with the social services, they was really just participating because they kept their check coming. But when they was aged out of that check, honey, they was like, I'm not coming back here. They didn't care what job I had for them. They wasn't coming back. They wanted the food stamps and they wanted that check. That's
That's
it.
sad.
Yeah, and I
Okay.
and I was. Go ahead, Price.
I got a question, Miss Mo. So what if you
Mhm.
would have went to like a temp agency and you was able to pull from their pool at the temp agency and then offer some type of incentive where, hey, you come take this training, I get you subsidized throughout the training. You think you would have had a better success or more attendance?
If the temp agency, if they had a job, if there was something monetary, yes. Now we did do after that, probably about maybe I don't know 6 months after that. There was a lady that worked for workforce unemployment that I had told her about the program was coming away, but she ended up leaving and going to Commission of the Blind, and we ended up doing a contract with them for a year, and we all of those clients stayed. So that was a good thing. The vision impaired, they stayed, and they were able to end up getting a customer service certificate that was accredited through the national customer service. And what else did they get?
How'd you get them to stay though? Like, what was it?
Oh, they didn't have a problem. The vision impaired, they wanted to learn. They wanted to learn how to do customer service. They wanted to learn how to do a call center job. And what we were trying to do is get partners to hire them. We were trying to get companies to hire them like Blue Cross Blue Shield or any of those companies that had virtual call center reps. We was trying to get
Uh,
them to hire visually impaired, and they were and the Commission of the Blind, the federal government was going to pay for their adaptive equipment to work for that company.
Hmm.
So they didn't mind. They wanted to be a part of it. It was part of their little whatever the Commission of Blind had going on. It was part of their little curriculum thing, and they
mm-hmm.
was rocking and rolling. We had no issues with the Commission of Blind. All of those participants showed up. I think we had 6 or 7 of them. We did 2 classes, so I think we did 14 students, 15 students.
Per class or just 14 altogether?
No, we had probably 6 to 8 per class.
Oh,
Yeah, because
So, I
go ahead.
no, I'm just saying, Miss Mo. I think I shared this with y'all before. You learned the same lesson I learned. I had a little a landscaping lawn care business, and I would hire certain jokers, but once they got some money, I couldn't get them to show back up.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
you know what I'm saying? You know, you try to pay a joker or whatever, then as soon as joker got some money, then you couldn't get them to come back. And
Yeah.
it gets it get kind of hard. You're trying to run a business, but you're trying to look out for certain people. What you call them re-entry, but
Was it
you
was
try
it
to
like
look
a
out for.
substantial amount of money, or was it like
I think
under the table
I
type
think
money?
I think well, no, it went over the table off the books because it was legit business. It's just that
Hmm.
at the end of the day, I'm providing equipment, transportation, clientele. Hey, at the end of you get paid every week. You know,
Mm. And
but
they didn't come back for that.
no, man.
No, man, they
Well,
don't.
you talking about manual labor too now. This manual labor. So,
They listen when they get paid, they don't show up.
but that's
That
amazing
that's
that you
weird.
said that. And then
Well,
you
that's
got a
weird.
whole government operation going here. But yeah, I learned that lesson quickly. That okay, it's almost you got to really identify a target. Now I do have some success because I had a few that came and showed up faithfully and went on to start their own operations. But
So,
Do you
it's
yeah.
do
just
you go
amazing
back
that you
in?
say that.
I was gonna say,
Yeah.
do you go back and collaborate with them, or like try to? I don't want to say partner up, but like conduct some business with them.
Oh no, Brandon, I kind of abandoned that whole thing after that, bro. Because it
Oh,
gets old. It's hard for you to scale. At the same time, you got overhead, you got clientele, you got a brand that you're trying to
yeah, yeah,
mess with, and it's hard to scale with that when you don't have the manpower.
right.
You can't schedule your production, and guys talking about they got to take their goldfish to get an abortion, or just
Man.
You go.
you ain't got time for that when you're trying to do business, bro. That's
Yeah,
just a lessons learned thing. But it's amazing that I saw it from a grind
jump.
perspective, and then Ms. Mo, she was doing it from their perspective, and yeah,
No, I
Man,
don't, like I
and
don't
I,
got.
nah, I ain't
What
gonna.
they? I was gonna say, were they
Go ahead.
particularly like young or were like older?
Yeah, it's young brothers. You run into them. You come across them. Hard on luck, and
Hmm.
just trying to get out here and get it. And like I say, it's manual labor, but it's good money. But you know, I don't know if the jokers ain't I don't want to say they used to having nothing, but it's just like they hit a target number and they be content, then they don't be showing up. So
yeah, they good, Brandon.
No, I was saying, yeah, that's got to be a different mindset because that's no, that. Thank God I'm not part of that generation. But like that's different.
well, I ain't gonna say who be out there every day getting it and don't miss a beat. I'm gonna leave that one for another discussion. But
I already know. I already know. I already know. We got a bus load them up here.
Yeah, man, look.
hey,
So
Man,
they
they up
they
here.
don't miss a beat, man,
Not
and be waiting
one.
on the opportunity. And yeah, it make you feel some type of way. But I'm gonna leave that alone.
it does. It does. Let's see. It says 91 of the participants in the BSN program will graduate as BSN and earn their RN within 18 months. So 91%. Uh, 91, 90%. So 90% of each one of those. I think that would be okay. So we'll put for this part right here, 90%. And I guess the BSN, I don't
So
know if that
hey,
was, huh?
Miss Mo, we still talking about the nurses. I mean, who this class even for?
Yeah, that's the nurses. So what I was just trying to show you, like the last part when it says the proposed outcomes, you have to kind of break it out. So when you do your program and you have your number of participants, you have to tell the grantor what your successes are. And this is what this paragraph about right here is. This is your success. This is the
Oh,
successes.
so here's my question. So for that particular area, that shaded area that we're looking at, where we
Right.
gonna get the numbers to say, hey, you need these people to be trained? Where we get that data from?
Oh, they're at the university.
No, we
Oh,
was
you talking
talking
about,
about
oh,
the
who,
stats, the numbers for
oh,
why I need these people to be trained in this area and all. Where I'm gonna
okay.
pull that data from?
That's where, remember how we was talking earlier, how do you get the data? So you find out how many students are participating in the nurses program, how many students in a rural area coming from the rural area that are participating. So they would go do the same thing we were doing, census report. They're probably pulling enrollment, where these people are coming from. They're probably going to this parish right here and pulling statistics from their sites. They probably getting it from they got to be getting it from the individuals who enrolled in school.
So what you saying? The school does like a consensus?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
they do it based
Cool.
off their. I think they would do it based off their enrollment, and they're saying is, hey, based off our enrollment and based off the in these areas, which are probably rural areas, and the lack of, and probably the how many nurses that they are lacking in those areas, the staffing. They're probably saying this is our number of students that we have, and we want to train these students to be staffed in this area. And so basically, what they're probably saying is, okay, we're going to run them through this program. And then in the grant, I'm almost sure they're probably saying in this grant that they're going to do some job placements in these areas. Because, anytime you running, if anytime you're going through any type of, if there's a governmental program involved, then they're wanting those students who are coming through those programs to be job placed. And you have to get obligated. You got to obligate them at least a year or two in that program. It's kind of like the USC medical students that come through USC. They go through the VA. They get their 5 years, and or some of them 5 to 10 years. They get them student loans written off, and they go on by their merry way. I'm trying to teach our Black students to do the same thing, but they don't listen. I'm like, we are not in the VA because all they do is practice on us. Y'all are not in there because y'all, our schools have to start saying, hey, when these military officials or these folks be coming and say, how can we be more of assistance to the HBCUs? You need to be saying our program needs to be locked in to these VA medical facilities in our state. So our students can have the opportunity not only for employment and work experience, but also be able to write off their student loans because that's the only reason those folks come there. We see those kids in our programs, optometry, in the surgery section, in the physical therapy section, in the PA section, and then in 5 years they're gone.
Mm.
I ain't mad at them.
I ain't I ain't even, but I'm just saying how we could start leveraging those. So I was bringing it up. I brought this up to kind of show how when we build in this program that we got to think in terms of we start getting the statistics piece of it. I mean, how the program is going to be ran. So there's three things that we highlight in here. One, there's an orientation time. You have to do intake. Two, you have to offer them something. So how does that work for us? We may not have an accredited program, but guess what? If we're doing, matter of fact, let's look it up. We might can find one before I say that. So remember, I told you I found a accredited customer service program that you can pay for. So one of the things we did with our grant when we did it, we added that fee in, and it was like $75 per person to take the course, and it was only a 1 week course, and they offer them training aids, and then they had homework assignments, and that's how it pretty much ran. So let's look to see if there is free accredited investment course. You want to look? Oh, boom, right here. You, you believe
I
it?
think some of those are sponsors. I don't know
Here
if you want the sponsored ones.
we go. Free courses for beginners, right? And you want to add this in. So if they give you a certificate, I don't know if this would come out as a credit, but let's see. Mm, 10 chapters, virtual practice account. Services. So I want to find one, and I'll look for one and see if there's one that would just give you a little certification, like a continuous education. That's what I'm looking for. So I got to stroll back. So they have one, but I want one that gives you a little certificate. But
Well, as
continue.
in investor.
Uh huh.
Mm.
That's
Continuous
gonna be
education.
tough.
We'll find out.
I can see for like something for like accounting, understanding, credits and debits.
Yeah.
Now, remember, I just told you they had one for customer service, so don't count it out. Don't count
I'm just saying. I've been living in America a long time. I don't see no certs out there for that.
a little continuous, a little CPE course.
Mm-mm.
Whenever I find one, I'll let y'all know in case. Here we go.
Yeah. I might buy you a latte. I might cash up you $5. If you find one of them, I'm gonna find you get you a latte.
Gelato.
We gonna find a CPE one, five online, free
I can.
online courses that can help you learn investment. We just want the CPE hours. Oh, and if it's offered by the community college, might be a little CPE hours involved. Five free courses. Introduction to Investments by Southwest Community College in Cholula. So this is gonna be it's gonna be online. So let's see. 99 bucks.
Is that free
Yeah.
though? Say it's $99. It ain't free.
Was $75. It still gives you the opportunity though to get a little CPE. Remember I said
Miss Mo, Miss Mo, now you saw that number. That number said 101. Stock market 101.
yeah, $100.
You'll finish that course and do more damage than you will good. That's
But it says Stock Market 101 is offering it for free. Use the code for free.
I bet,
No,
bet you that code is expired. Now click on it. Let's see.
that's some fun.
look, continue to register. Yes, it
Nah, don't even do that. Nah, look at that.
Mm-mm,
Nah, don't even do that.
mm-mm.
It's gonna ask you to fill out your credit card information.
no, they ain't doing
Won't,
that.
won't you just go to Harvard? Was it Harvard University and like type in free courses?
And see
Okay,
the
yeah. On the podcast, yeah. Maybe
Harvard
Harvard Business, yeah. Harvard Business
Yeah,
School. I think Stanford had some stuff on the podcast.
for free.
yeah, yeah. It's pll.harvard.edu like
Wait,
forward slash
PLL dot
dot
Harvard
yeah, dot
dot
edu.
this one free Kellogg.
Yeah.
Of course. Here we go.
Now, I don't know if you get like a cert or something after this, but you can probably find something in here.
Yeah. Nah,
I think
nah, America ain't doing that. I'm just-
I should I should have said free.
yeah, yeah. I'm tickled. I'm tickled that y'all even looking. Y'all already know America ain't doing that. America is not doing that.
No, I got a website. I got a website where you get a cert after completing the course. I don't want to give it
Yeah.
a whole
Now
thing.
Yeah,
I'm
don't give
gonna
it.
train. I train you how to do some manual labor, but I'm not gonna train you in no white collar tactics and give you a cert.
Yeah.
It's some Python and some JavaScript.
Yeah, beginner stuff though.
Now, that you can get now. Hey, Python and Java, don't sleep on them two. Do
That's
not
all
Mm-mm.
sleep on. Do
beginner.
not sleep on those.
Yeah,
No, especially Java.
huh?
No, especially Java. A lot of crypto.
Yeah. Well, a
Uh,
lot of your web is ran in Java and Python, but you got new frameworks out now. But don't sleep on those two. In fact, I think I'm gonna get back to learning me some scripts.
Yeah, Super too.
well, we still live?
Yeah,
All right.
we gonna go unlive.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm gonna show you the site. Then all your subscribers have to subscribe to you to get it.
Oh, look at I'm gonna learn me. This is only 7 weeks. I'm gonna learn me some Python. I don't know why, but I want to learn how to do an app. I'm looking.
You say
Like
you don't learn how to do what?
I want to. You gonna teach me that access, or I'm gonna learn how to, and then I'm gonna learn how to do an app.
Oh well, yeah. Access is an app. You're gonna learn a lot. We gonna get hot, Miss Mo. I've been really thinking about this and going back and forth with it. And
Remember, you go ahead.
well, I'm just saying, Access is kind of like a package deal. You do the back end development and the front end development, but it's in a Windows framework. But yeah, and you'll learn some SQL. And once you get to understanding the whole concept of syntax, then you'll be able to learn other languages. I'm confident in that. Now that's something you can get for free.
Ah,
Uh, no, seriously, just by going on YouTube and it's a lot of people put information out there, but you just got to have the well, how I want to say this. You got to be able to just have the patience to work through it and understand what they're putting down.
hey, look how round two. I guess they heard about the program. They got hot. Look at McNeese. McNeese got hot. Who else got hot? I'm talking about the smaller schools. They definitely Missouri State. And they start issuing some little University of Louisiana Monroe. Start getting hot. I don't know what's going on.
What they making? What program?
The same grant. I just went to
Oh,
tier. I went to tier two to see who else was getting some money. Like like surely somebody y'all have to catch a wave. You know what I'm saying? Somebody that told y'all, call y'all. There we go. Look, USL in Eunice, the smaller school, but they got some though.
well, they operating with from their strengths. You got
Mhm.
you got to think about it, Miss Mo. I mean, the institutions other than sports researching research grants is a big thing. Well, to me, in higher learning, I might need to start me a consulting firm and go and telling these folks about that.
Yeah.
That's why I said you two need to get in business and just go around these campuses and either, you tell them, do a consulting firm like you said, or just create their own page for
Well, here's the thing, Brandon. A lot of your big schools are already up on game, and
Yep.
the thing is, they pick a field if
Mm-hmm.
and they'll hire the leading professor in this field, and he'll get the grant. He'll get the big grant. I'm talking about multi-million-dollar grants.
Mm-hmm.
them.
Uh,
Keep them flowing.
and he'll come back and teach a couple courses, and then he'll have a whole entourage of undergrad students and PhD students up under him doing all
Mm-hmm.
this work. But they've already got this money from the government or whoever to conduct this research. That's the big money right there. That's like a R1 institute, and it goes into different fields of whether it's IT, whether it's physics, whether it's
Mhm.
you know chemistry, biotech, or something like that. That's
No,
big money.
I was just saying for the aspect of like those schools that are not able to get it or not able to push past through, find somebody who has experience in getting grants and successfully getting these grants. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, they already got, high level people already there or people
Yeah.
who got like degrees and get this stuff on a daily basis. But like your niche or your people that you can market to is those campuses that don't get it, like those community colleges that's not really funded like that.
Some
See,
people
that
freezing their pockets versus actually putting that money in and enhancing their institution.
I mean, yeah,
no, well, I can see that. I can see this Molam approach coming in and say, hey, this what's going on in your area, and here's the numbers, and
would you
here's
like
a
to have my
problem,
services?
and here's a solution, and I could bridge the gap to you. If you come through and talk that data and let Chat GPT put it down for you, I don't see why it won't work. But
Right.
Oh, let's try it. Let's see if we can get some data at GPT. Let me see. Do I have it on me?
Yeah, you got it open right there.
Where? Right here?
Nah, I'm not even looking.
Uh, I'm not even looking. You fired.
no, well, Ms. Mo, I'll give you this already. I already know that nursing thing is hot in that part of Louisiana, uh, northeast Louisiana, and southwest Mississippi, because I remember this episode of Trap Queens. And hey, don't scrutinize my methodology, because of the lack of medical care in those areas. This lady was able to open up these clinics where she got everybody hooked on fentanyl. I can't remember
What?
that episode, but it was right there in that area, and it was due to the lack of medical facilities or medical care in those areas.
She got everybody hooked on fentanyl.
That's crazy.
And
Mm.
she just opened up pain clinics, and she got in touch with some pharmacists. So that to me, that says there's a lack of medical care in those areas.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I want to look this up right now. Let me go back to. I wanted to. So yeah, I wanted to show how you can go to these sites and it kind of give you an idea that the data that they had was information that people are normally missing on their grants when they, which is the outcomes and the statistics. We saw
Well,
they go ahead.
I'll give you another prime example. In my home state of Mississippi, a lot of the rural hospitals, like up there in the Delta, they're closing. So you got people that now, if they need medical care, they got to go 2 hours down to Jackson, or maybe up to 2 hours up to Memphis to get treatment because the rural hospitals are closing. There are no medical facilities there. Like now everybody's switching to that model, talk about urgent care. You can see that within your cities or your more developed communities, but in your rural areas, they ain't got nothing. After the drugstore closed, they ain't got no medical care.
Yeah. Here's your apprenticeship. Let's see. Your apprenticeship information. Let's see what they got. You ask type of apprenticeship.
So you think about that. You live in a community where something go down, and the closest thing you got for medical care is a veterinarian, the local veterinarian who take care of the animals in that area.
Wow.
So,
Well, no, I mean, aren't they trying to get everybody online though?
you say get online. I
Yeah.
don't understand.
So what they're doing now is, I don't know if you heard the thing about Amazon, with the
Oh
healthcare,
yeah, yeah. With
where
the
you do an overline if it's something not that serious versus like a flu cold, you can do overline or whatever. But like more major stuff, you have to, like you said, go to the nearest town or the city for 2 hours. But
okay.
I don't.
Hey, okay. Hey, Brandon, think about this now. What's another shortfall in your rural communities?
What?
Internet
Internet.
connection. Yep. Internet.
Broadband. Oh yeah.
Broadband connection. I take that back then.
Yeah.
Broadband is huge.
Because I went somewhere south of where I stay for like 2 hours, and like I got like to a certain point where like my cell phone connection just stopped. Like they said I had no service. I
Like
couldn't even
they,
hook up to my Bluetooth or nothing to the car or nothing. Like,
look,
oh,
they have
this sounds,
panic like a bug. I said, oh no, I won't be coming back here.
man, Confederate flags all over the place. I'm like, you know
Yeah.
what? Let me just throw this on the curb and tell them where it's at. I
Hey,
ain't doing that mess.
I'm just saying, man. You think about it, we be like, oh man, everybody got that. Everybody got internet. You got no cell phone? No, everybody
Man,
don't. Yeah,
nope. And what's crazy, like you said, it's probably like 2 hours away from you. People don't have internet
e-
still.
exactly.
Mm.
So that's just a thought. We got to be mindful. We be quick to think that everybody has it, but everybody don't. That's all I'm saying.
Mm. Need to borrow something from here. If I find something I like, you gotta stay in the know. I look at it, I bring it up, I check it out, see how I can. Because something, a lot of times with the Fed, they like to change up the wording, you know, put emphasis on certain things and say, good or not, I have to kind of go out here and see what's going on, what they're talking about, what their reasons, what are their points, what are they looking for, and I'll come out here and kind of scan, see what they're talking about. See, this,
Sustainability.
yeah,
That's a good word for 2023.
uh-huh. And, and when they're looking at your grant and they're looking at the budget, they're looking to see. You always want to make sure you put that. You put them down, but you also want to see if you can get with a government agencies for referrals and see if they would do a letter for you that they support you and could give you referrals. You want to find another either a foundation or corporate partner and be able to list, even if you're getting $1,000, $500, or maybe they giving you items, like materials, notebooks, cups, pens, whatever, them down for support and services. And you want to put a value, even if they're giving you something tangible, you want to be able to put a value to that and list that in your financial statement because they're looking for that. They're looking to see, okay, are we the only people they're relying on? Or do they have other steps? I always put in-kind donations, you know. And with nonprofits or grant programs, you want to make sure that you are doing your own fundraising events where you can show that you are trying to raise money on your own and you're not solely relying on, grant funds from that particular entity. Continuation, um, what remember I talked about when I was talking about the grant period and how long and how you're gonna run it. Is it a one-time thing? Are you gonna do it multiple times a year? Is it something you're going to build on? Or do you have a plan in place to expand and build on success? Or just you're just going to offer it and then you no longer offer it, but people are going to look for your services next year? You know, you have maintaining the outcomes. We talked about that before. Okay, so one of the things I didn't talk about. So one of the things we did with the reentry program, we had that soft skills training before we got them jobs. We did that 8 weeks of training,
Just you gotta work.
and it, huh?
You gotta work.
And then at the at the end of the 8 weeks, we did a little graduation
And
to show that they completed and this is what they learned in the courses. So we did a little certificate, and then we put in there the topics that we covered. How many hours did they do of course training? And that was one of the ways that we measured our outcomes by those who actually graduate, right? And then the rest of it for us would have been the job placement. So we actually place them on a job. So if you're doing, if we Christian's doing an investment training, maybe his success, ending success would be someone opening a brokerage account and making their first deposit to invest, or opening a money market account, or like we talked about before, a college fund plan or something, some type of investment vehicle, right? So that would be one of the outcomes at the end as well. And then what needs to be changed, and then you would talk about that. So of course I'm going to keep this because I need to use some of the language in here.
Hey, that I think that's good, Ms. Mo, because when you think about in the whole area of finances, when the COVID kicked off and it was trying to get money out to everybody, we had a lot of people. I don't know the number, but you had everybody couldn't receive assistance or receive aid because we got a certain percentage of the population that's unbanked. So
Mhm.
I think that's a problem. Maybe not when things is going good so much, but in times of emergency, if you're trying to reach out to everybody, but you can't reach out to everybody because you got a certain demographic or a certain percentage that's unbanked, then
Uh-oh.
did you lose me?
I'm here. I can hear you.
Okay, no, I was just saying that that could be a maybe that could be a bullet to say, hey, at the end of the hey, this person would be with plugged into the system.
Right.
Because I think today we still got a lot of people that's unbanked, but I
Oh
don't even
yeah.
know what to do about that.
Oh yeah. Definitely, definitely so. Um, let's see. Then you have, okay, your stakeholders engagement, those individuals who are involved, those are your participants, those are your partners, community members, whoever, your volunteers, you don't have any employees. And so we never can assume that we can do a program alone. Somebody got to be at that table taking your registration. Somebody got to be there to give you some water. I learned that the hard way. Like somebody got to be there to click for you. Somebody have to be there. You need at least two or three other people to help you. if you're going to facilitate a workshop. That's why teams are important, right? And then you have, your leadership or your staff succession. So many people get this wrong. But one of the reasons I like the DAV, because they have people that have been working in their organization for 20 plus years, have been there from day one, right? Um, so we have to learn how to create when we put our programs together, our organizations or our nonprofits together, we have to think about we have to do a better job of creating successors. Who's gonna stand on our shoulders and continue to transfer this knowledge over, as opposed to keep creating. And this is why we don't have no good track records to present. Is one thing I don't know if y'all ever noticed a lot of times matter of fact, if you was to look at those individuals who are giving out a lot of Thanksgiving meal food items right now, a lot of them will put on their flyer, been in business since 19 whatever, you know, they're showing longevity. So people say, how do they get to give out? You only giving out 100, they giving out 300, or you giving only can give out 10 turkeys, but they giving out 20,000 turkeys. Well, guess what? They
Business is good.
had, huh?
I was gonna say business is good.
No, their grandparents probably had the organization, who in turn had their. Go ahead, go get some clues. Their grandparents had some organization, who in turn had their parents who participated, and then they participated, and so it's longevity. So they've been around a while. So instead of us automatically just starting something new over and over and over, let's build on something. So like one of the things that people get upset about, um, so there's a little group. They started their little group, um, and people be like, "Why didn't they just join the group?" And I said, "Well, I don't think that those young people did not want to join your group. I think that when they come to your meetings, you guys don't give them a voice, or they offer suggestions and ideas, and y'all just talk over them. Like, what are we doing?" you know. So they go and start a whole nother group. Instead of letting them go ahead, Price.
No, I said that sounds like the military.
You fired. Yeah. So we got to learn how to do a better job in creating success, putting those individuals in place so that they can take on some of those responsibilities and trust them. Let them make mistakes. I mean, don't give them the major areas to make. You wouldn't let them do payroll. You know what I'm saying? Pay the bill. Maybe you can give them the marketing task. You know what I'm saying? Let them get out there, get their little feet wet, and then move them around. Next year maybe you was in charge of marketing. This time you're in charge of promotion. Next time you're in charge of advertising. Then after that, maybe you're in charge of the participants or keeping up with the volunteers. Next time you're in charge of buying stuff. You slowly work them on in there. And then eventually they're cross training. They know you're holding that organization. And then you have monitoring and evaluation. You have to learn how to do surveys, whether you're going to do hard copy, whether you're going to use a QR code, whether you're going to serve it audit. You have to be able to create your own data for your particular organization and what you're doing. You can't just do an event and then say, "Oh, I've done this my 30-second event and we've had over 10,000 people participating." Okay, prove it.
Mhm.
Y'all ain't got no damn pictures. Nobody is smart enough to stand in front of the audience and take a picture or do a panorama.
Nope.
Well, hey,
Like,
that's where the database come in at, Ms. Mo. That'll be
yeah,
good. We can capture your registration data. Like you say, you can throw some pictures with that. You can get feedback. You can put a name with a badge number, or however you tracking that, and see how effective your marketing was. You know,
Yes, and you want to. And so when you really get into the meat and potatoes of programs or what grants are supposed to do, you realize that woo, this just like having a regular business.
It's a numbers game. I already see this. It's a
Oh,
numbers game.
oh, all day, every day. All day, every day. So I want to keep this particular this information to see um how to use some of the wording. So a lot of times I'll go out there. The government sites, they always put their trainings out there. They're up to date trainings, and you want to know what they're talking about in these programs because they'll always give you a webinar or a meeting session about that program. And even though you may not be right into that grant, maybe you want to do it at a lower level. But guess what? You want to listen to them because they're the ones that putting the content, the information out. Because in your local areas, they're not gonna do that. They ain't paying nobody to come here and sit down and train you. And if they do, they don't know what they're talking about, so they can't really answer your questions. Right? So I just wanted to check this real quick because I wanted to see. Oh, remember I was talking about earlier the point system, the matrix? Okay, so let's say this was a point system on a grant. Like each of these areas will weigh a certain amount of points, and they will go through the look for your content that speaks to these different areas. And that's how they weigh your grant.
We need the
You know.
content.
Hmm?
We need like the content.
Okay, so let me go back to that last slide. This one. All right. So they would look at your budget. So let's say financial stability. So let's say this was 25, 25, 25, and 25, right? That's 100,
Mhm.
that's 100%. They would look at your budget and they would see, do you have a diverse amount of funds coming in from different places? If you just have one line item, maybe you get 5% for that, maybe 2%, whatever, right? They're gonna
Mhm.
score you based on the content in this category. Then they go to program continuation, 25%. That's how much you can get. They'll look,
Oh, okay, I get it.
same staff. Do you? Yeah. So they're looking for you right into this information. So that's why it's very important to look at the matrix of a grant. What are they weighing your grant based on? If they're asking specific questions, you need to answer each of those questions in that paragraph
Gotcha.
because that's how they're scoring you. Right? And never assume that you don't need the information. I did that. I didn't put statistics in one of my grants. I scored a 77, I think it was, out of 100. Someone else scored like a 60 something. They gave it to that person over me because I didn't have statistics. I missed out on 500,000. I was super mad.
Mm.
I didn't like that at all. Um, so benchmarks, like who are you who like, okay, you noticed I kind of bounced around when I was looking for information. I was going to go through several of those grants that was already awarded just to see how they were written out. We call that benchmarking. Like who are you looking at, what companies are you modeling yourself after? You always want to look at 3 companies that are doing really well, even if you're doing your own personal business, and you want to look at 3 companies who are really weak because you don't want to make the same mistakes they're making, you know. And then you want to shine like the other ones because they have a good track record, you
Like,
know.
how would you equate, or if a business is doing weak, and then looking at a business is doing well, like
Look at their review.
number wise? Okay.
You can look at their reviews online. If we're talking nonprofits, everything is public knowledge, and you could pull their 990s. If you're talking nonprofits, you can pull their 990s. If you're talking just regular business, you basically would just look. You would look for to see if they have a website. Just kind of size them up on who they are. Like, oh, give you a good example. Fast food. Would you go to Chick-fil-A, McDonald's, or Wendy's?
Chick-fil-A.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah,
Because of the business model, right? Because of how
Right.
the people treat you when you come there, how the food is prepared, everything, right? Everybody else is starting to slack, you know? And so that was a good example for me to use. Now, when you start sizing up and say which one are doing good and which one are doing bad, you can just look around town. So here we try to figure out why Burger King's still in business. We don't never see no cars in the parking lot. And then when you go to get food from there, you be like, well, surely your food should come up fresh. It takes them forever to get your food out. Or they done forgot your order. Be like, what's going on?
that's crazy. So
So,
let me ask you this, Miss Mo. So it's not already like a matrix out there for like industry standard, or you just say the best practice is to compare yourself to the competition.
um, well, you could look. I haven't, I'd have to go. We could look. We can try to do one and search to see if there's something out there, and we can kind of go off of that. That's kind of like what I do
Yeah,
with the grants. I'll go look to see what grants is out. I'll Google federal grants for, let's say, housing repairs, and then I'll look through them to see if there's a matrix out there, what they're looking for, or look for their outcomes, or what are they asking you to do. I always go to the
right,
outcomes because what are they asking me to do, and then I have to see if I can write to that. And
right.
kind of way backwards. Like right here, they're showing an example of an assessment worksheet. Remember, I talked about it earlier.
Yeah,
This is their goal. They want to place 1,250 individuals in a registered apprenticeship program. They want to do it over 3 years. Then the outcomes, they want to place at least 875 of those individuals in an RA program and 417 of them placed in 3 years. And then the vision for success, they wanted these 500 individuals in the RA program, um, in the program by next year. And then they want to develop a new employer partnership to open available on the job training slots. Co-enroll participants in the Workforce Investment Act to receive funding offsets. You know what that means, right? Because if they develop them jobs, then Workforce Solutions is going to give half that money back. That's why they say funding offsets. That's a nice word. I like that.
yeah. I think that's a good write up too. It's a
Yes.
aggressive write up.
Yes, and this is what I was trying to do earlier with the chart. So this is the chart. I'm gonna just copy this one because this is how it needs to be formatted. And this is the second goal. And you don't have to have a million goals. You just have to have something, right? You got to have something that say you enrolling or registering, a goal based on that, and then what are the outcomes for that, and then you got to have a completion, right? Either you putting them in employment, either you trying to help them, or you handed them off. So someone challenged us one time. We were going to get the grant with probation, partner, and parole, and they said, the number one problem we have with small nonprofits is follow up. So you give this target audience this great program, and then when they're done, because remember, you're dealing with individuals who haven't been in the system, who's been in the system for a while, for years. They come out, we're gonna give them to you. We on your side. We're gonna give you the referrals. We're releasing 60 to 100 people every day. We're gonna give you the referral. You're gonna bring them through this great program. You're gonna help them get a job. And guess what? That's only 2 months of them being out after serving years. You have to create a follow-up program. So we created a motivational, 4-week motivational where we touch bases with them once a week. And then we came back and did a 4-week follow-up after that, once a week with a counselor, not with us per se. So we had a counselor on the team that we paid that they would meet with once a week for 4 weeks after that. And then they came back and they said, okay, that's cool, that's fine and dandy. I see you headed to a good start, but what are you gonna do after that? So they said, you know what, you guys need to start referring them to the larger agencies because you're touching people that larger agencies won't be able to touch because they're tired of the institutions. So they relate more to the smaller groups. But you're going to have to pass them back off, because once they've grown up again, pass them back off to some more supportive services because they have more resources. And this is why you have to partner with the government and agencies. See, I just made that come full circle. So, for example,
Yep.
if you're doing, let's take the lawn care that Price talked about earlier, right? I'm doing a lawn care service, and I partnered with, um, let's say I partnered with reentry. Let's say I partnered with kids aging out of foster care, 19-year-olds. They aging out of foster care. VSS going to pay me um, to hire them. So they come in, I give them a job. Then I want to partner with them with I want to always, if you're working with a demographic that is have some type of disparities, some type of lack, some type of underdeserved, you always want to have a counselor on your team that's a supporting services. So you get with someone who has an independent clinic who offer, and here's a big one, right? If they receive any type of Medicaid, Medicare, so that's sometimes that may be your seniors or they may be your youth, right? They receive any kind of Medicaid, Medicare, on type of some type of assistance. That counselor can pass them through their they can bill Medicaid, Medicare for giving them counseling. That's no expense to you. They're actually making money. So that's a supporting services on your team. That's a private partner, right? And then you want to connect them to workforce solutions. That could be a government agency where they can offer them more classes they can take, or maybe sometimes the technical schools. If you did technical schools, sometimes they have resources available for that demographic, and so you can contact them. So maybe they want to go into the entrepreneurship certification class, or sometimes your business service offices offer entrepreneurship little classes, and so you want to partner with them. So not only will you have that individual connected with them, or maybe you have a bank or a tax service that's offering free how or small business tax understanding type classes, right? So you want to partner with all of them. You want to give that person all of these opportunities. So I'm going to give you a job, but here's who I want you to see on this week. And then next week, I want you to go see them. And the next week, I want you to go see them. And next week, I want you to go see them. And now you just built up your whole grant. You just made a power move.
No, but I ain't going through all that to cut no grass and build no fences and clean no flower beds.
No, I'm saying if you going after a grant, if you're going after that apprenticeship grant, that's what make your grant powerful, more strong.
Hmm.
If you're going to go after a grant, that's what makes your grant strong.
Oh no, I ain't gonna do all that. Not for no landscape, hardscape.
But think about it. Some people wanna teach. We had a program where Brandon might remember this, where we was getting subject matter experts to teach young people how to do landscaping, how to paint, how to do electrician work and carpentry work. And
Mm-hmm.
so
Really?
yeah, we had designed it. I got the write up. We had designed it when we got the grant to pay a stipend to instructors to come in, and we had these students work you challenge, because there's an automatic audience, and they would come in and they would teach them how to build a picnic table. So for us, there was carpentry, and we had gotten a grant with Workforce Solutions for apprenticeship to teach them that. But we didn't hire them to do the work. We created the workbook based off of the instructional piece of it, and we taught
Uh-huh.
them. We put it all together, compiled it all together, and created a workbook. And we taught them basically taught them familiarization of carpentry, electrician, plumbing, landscaping. So basically got them familiar with the equipment and how to use it. We didn't even get into the meat and potatoes of it.
Now look,
You could do a grant. We talking about this investment. We could do a grant and teaching them how to read the charts.
Oh no, Miss Mo, but here's my thought with that. I just heard what you said with the counselor and all this that extracurricular activity. And you know what I thought about?
What?
I thought about the more ragged ass soldiers going on sick call and all that, and then they getting out of doing what they need to be doing and impeding progress. So I don't. No, that's not something I'd be interested in. Not for that. Not from that perspective. Maybe
Right.
to teach something.
I was using it as an example. I'm not fooling with you.
No, I'm just saying because you're talking about. Oh, my counselor said I'm stressed out. I can't work the weed eater. I can't work the blower. I got a profile. No, man, get the hell out of here. You know.
Uh,
Like, I get what you're saying. Like nobody's willing to go that extra mile to do all that extra steps. I mean, yeah, that
No,
looks good on the grant aspect of it, but
well, it does, but I can see you can have this idea in your mind and you want to bring in all these resources. However, hey man, humans is funny. I ain't gonna even say black folk. I'm just gonna say humans. Once they find a way to get over, they're gonna get over. And when you start bringing in these social aspects of this and labor, yeah, I might be a dinosaur, but I don't like that one. I don't even want that grant. Hey, just give me somebody who want to come out here and get it.
right. And then you have to but this is what they're looking for. And it doesn't have to be extreme. You could just have it as a resource. Let's say you don't direct them to it, but you have it as a resource in your brand. And you can it could be merely you just putting a pamphlet together and say, here you go, bro. This is for you been hired, you might need some of these services one day. Guess what? You still check the block.
But then, okay, what if I get that one guy that reads the whole pamphlet?
He can well, you got the context, but you got the
uh,
contacts and stuff in there. You can
no,
just
hey, hear me out, Miss Mo. Hear me out. Hey, he done read the whole pamphlet. I got a full schedule plan, and I'm like, hey, anytime I need to go see the counselor because I'm having issues. Am I gonna tell him no after I done said that I offer these?
oh god, well that's the chance, that's the possibility. We just hope that everybody don't
Yeah,
go.
yeah. I got flashbacks. I'm traumatized by soldiers, so I know how them soldiers get down. They learn some shit and they pull it.
Yeah, hey, trust me. I know. Lord have mercy.
Hey,
I done tore up tuition forms and everything.
yeah,
What?
but
You want
I,
to do a
I, I
job?
did. Well, I like those last two bullets when it was talking about, hey, I want to
Wow.
enroll 1,200 and in state is to employ 1,100. That was like an 88%. That's something
Mm-hmm.
quantifiable. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
those are solid
Mm-hmm.
solid mission statement right there.
Yeah.
But
But on a small
yeah,
scale, for you, it may be. So, what's the rule of thumb in a classroom? 25 students to one adult?
well, yeah, they say that's a big small group. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
something like
And
that.
to me, that's too many. For me, I
Yeah,
have to have 2 or 3 people in that room because I tried to do that. Remember, I told you about my experience, and it was overwhelming. I was like, "Oh no, I need some help." so, so I changed that up real fast. Whatnot. Even when I tried to do it online, it was that was just too much. So I had to break that down. Listen, I'm not talking about all that stuff today. This is all we talking about. Okay. Yeah, your mental, like when you start teaching your whole mental capacity, you got to find a way to replenish them brain cells because you exhausted all your energy. They start asking questions, and your whole lesson plan then went out the window if you don't know how to control the classroom. You
yeah,
know,
that's true too.
but this is some
nah,
real good. Go ahead, Brandon.
I'm gonna say nah. No, you just tell them, hey, wait till the end of the lesson, then start asking questions, and then you
Right.
have them talk amongst themselves and figure out themselves. Because at the end
Hey,
of the day, you're gonna have to.
Hey, inside the classroom, that's the best thing you could do is group them.
Right, and just
Yeah.
let them talk it out.
You can group them. That helps out. When I was in Kosovo, I taught the fast class, which was teaching the kids on how to update a GT score. Honey, them little smart little rascals. They used to try. I used to try to teach them algebra, and they used to try to challenge me. Sorry, Lamb. What makes you qualified to teach us? I said the fact that you in this class and I'm the instructor makes me
Yeah.
qualified.
Yeah. You need me,
You
little ninja.
know. Let me tell you something. And then you don't forget to write down your responsibilities if it's more than one person. Let me keep going. And then you want to, this part right here, the roadmap. Like, I love doing a flow chart. But like I said, the more you get into, the larger your grant become, you got to start tackling some of these areas and putting this into your grant. Because if you don't, you're going to possibly lose a grant or you're going to miss out on something because all of these factors start to play a factor. And if you're going to try to get big grants, you better have a staff. That's not going to work. Um, I like this too. I'll probably pull this. The long term goals, the partners that you're going to need, the resources that you're going to need, and the potential barriers. A lot of people forget to think about the potential barriers. There's no such thing that you're not going to have a barrier. No such thing. I told you what mine was. I tried to, I tried to teach those individuals who was receiving government assistance, and the barrier was the fact that they had an incentive that was going to run out in the between the duration of the course. And when it ran out, they stopped coming and the course wasn't over.
Mm.
So they messed up my whole track record. Yep. Building and maintaining partners, that's where your MOUs come in, your memorandum of understanding, spelling it out. I
Yeah.
have some examples of that as well.
That's pretty good presentation, Miss Mo.
Yeah.
Here where I'm at, we got some food there deserts, and
Mm-hmm.
there's a company out here. It started in Tulsa, Oklahoma, out of Greenwood, and
Mm-hmm.
the guy came in here and made a presentation to the city council, and he was
Mm-hmm.
talking a lot along this stuff. I said, man, why is all this extra stuff? But now I hear what you're putting down today. And he was telling, some of the stuff that that guy was talking about doing. I'm like, okay, we're just trying to get a grocery store here on this side of town where people don't have to come on the other side of town. And but I understand where he was coming from now with with everything that you're presenting here, because
Mm-hmm.
he is kind of like his organization is not a nonprofit, it's a for profit, but
Mm-hmm.
it's he he gets he gets money from various various streams. So
Mm-hmm.
I can see where it's going now. It's going anything from getting people literacy on like how to pay the bills, assistance with how to pay the
Mm-hmm.
bills, counseling for this, counseling for that. A
Mm-hmm.
grocery, the grocery store is it's just a hub for all this other stuff for financial literacy and for other assistance and everything. So
Mm-hmm.
that's a lot to think about when you want to start partnering with the government. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, it is. And some people think that it's just a little small thing, honey. Let me tell you. And even on a small scale, I'm gonna show you when I finish lining out Chris's information, I'm gonna show you in more ways than none how I'm gonna factor in majority of this stuff in that program. And when he goes when he goes and talk to the people about getting some funding or somebody bring him in to teach it, we break out that cost analysis and break this stuff out. It's gonna speak for itself, and it's gonna be able to, people gonna want. You're gonna be able to take it into a school and get funding. And I always tell people, don't let them schools ask you to do nothing for free because they have a budget, honey. And
Hey,
everybody's
well,
trying to control those kids. The only way you control those kids, you talk. When I went into the youth challenge, go ahead, and then I tell you what I'm gonna say.
no, I just want to ask this question. So when you start operating on this scale, you to me, it sounds like you definitely need a compliance officer or a compliance person. You see
Yes.
what I'm saying? So I guess you have to figure out if it's worth the if it's worth the additional person or whatever. But you definitely gonna have to be doing some compliance if you're getting down like this.
Oh yeah. Even if you're getting a small grant, you have to have some level of this information in that grant because that's how they wean you out. And I'm gonna show you in a second one. Well, I'll probably show it tomorrow. But when you're going after this money, those people who are trying to fund you, they have all of this content in mind that your grant should have to the lowest level. And so, you even if you're doing 10 people, like for example, I'm going to do like with my grant, I'm gonna do housing repairs. I know I'm only gonna be able to probably get maybe 25 to 30 homes done with that 300,000, right? But I had to break all that stuff out. And even though I'm not gonna be doing all those different things, I had to start putting in supporting services because if I because I ended up with a wait list of over 100 and some people, it was like, okay, what you gonna do with these people? Y'all told them y'all had funding, so I had to start looking at other resources to help them. So I started looking at USDA, start looking at the Housing Trust Fund, and so I started referring them, but helping them doing the packets so that they can get approved to get some work done.
Okay, so Ms. Mo, now from that aspect or that sector, what does the counselors look like? Linking them up with a to talk with a realtor, or I mean, what type of outreach are people on the waiting list for housing repair receiving?
Wait, repeat it one more time.
I said, what type of external services outside of the household repair would those people be receiving as far as counseling?
Um, Now when counseling is concerned, then we could talk about, well, most of those people are seniors. So it would probably be energy efficiency, weatherization, asbestos, lead paint, you know, how to identify mold, things of that nature. Probably just more of educational things on how to identify things that will cause the home to be unsafe and unhealthy.
Dang, I still got to go through all that, and I'm just doing
No,
housing
you
repair
have no,
grant.
no, 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 no. I don't do that. No, I don't do that. The only thing that I've done with mine is just shared other resources because I may not be able to get to you on my list. So I shared them where they can get other help from other agencies. That's it. The only other thing I had to do was say, how did I get these participants? And that was through advertising, radio, TV, social media. And then the other thing I had to do was make sure that it was fair and I wasn't excluding anybody. So I try to make sure I do my best to have male and female, and any other demographic that would apply.
Oh, you got to go through all that Title 6 with that one. Male,
No,
female,
uh,
disabled,
I just
LGBTQI.
nope. I put the information out and I just don't turn them down. I can't make you apply and I don't go looking for you, but I just can't turn them down.
Okay, well that makes sense. Yeah, I agree with that. I got that.
Yeah, we don't got time to go look for you now. What is the you ain't? you know. So that's pretty much how that goes. But to make it stronger, remember I missed out on I missed out on the grant for uh the American Rescue Grant because that is the information they was looking for me to have. They wanted me to have that extra content, and I was like, I'm just doing housing repairs, and it was like, well, you just not getting no money. I was like, come on, man, y'all tripping. We don't have time for all that. You know how much I gotta do? Nobody got time to be doing all of that, you know? But yeah, this is really good content right here. I'm glad I pulled it down. I just want to go through some of this stuff just to kind of get some word and actually, because you always want to see what they're saying. Because sometimes, like, for example, nobody's using at risk no more, really. They're probably saying resource, youth, um, they're using different languages. And so you have to know what language they're using. Because if you write a grant and their objectives have changed and they're not using that language, you're going to miss the mark. And this is why when people say, why grant writers charge so much? Because they have to do the research, see what's going on out there. And all grant writers don't know all programs. They go and research it and then they write to that, you know. So these are the people who win in the workforce grants and where they put them out at, you know. But anyways, yeah. It's more content where this stuff come from. I'm going to kind of go through it and pull out what I need to kind of make this successful. I'm gonna really narrow it down. I'm kind of all over the place tonight. I'm trying to get my flow back. I'm a little out of whack, right, Brandon? I used to be able to just flow it and make it all line up and make sense. So, um, but like right now, I'm a hot commodity, but boy, I don't have no time. I got when you start writing when you get back into writing grants, it takes up a lot of mental, you know. So it's about that time of the year. Our grants open up in December, and woof, it's about to get busy. Which I got.
I don't know, Miss Mo. I like this housing thing. Yeah, I'm gonna pick your brain on this one.
Housing repairs, yeah. There's a housing repair grant I just seen on the federal website. Go ahead, Brandon. I knew you about to say something, but my tab's closed. I probably can't find them. What up, Brandon? What you was gonna say? I'm gonna tell you. If you dealing in, I can't hear you if you're saying something.
I think he said, never mind. Just
Oh,
take
he said.
some.
Oh, he said never mind.
MVN. I'm getting ready to tap out. But yeah, after we teach you some we get you started on your application development range. We have to come back and check this one out.
Oh yeah, we'll get it going. We'll definitely come back and we'll get back in there. We get Chris squared away. We're gonna get it in. All right, y'all. So yeah, this has been pretty cool. We talked about a lot.
We did. But you got me thinking now.
I got you sleepy.
No, not yeah, I think Brandon lost contact. Or he
He's
may be on the phone. He probably on the phone.
it must be that time. They must be awake up in there, Italy.
Oh, he calling back to Italy.
Yeah. he he didn't he calling back. He got a
who,
all right,
who
so
hey, who impressed who then, Mr. Brandon?
he probably impressed her.
It's
They
8 o'clock in the
go
morning.
get
Yeah,
Brandon.
it's 8 o'clock in the morning over there. Hey man, I know world time zone, Brandon.
Hey, go in offer, go get that green card. He gonna be mad at me. He gonna get me in a minute. Let me get off this thing, y'all.
all
Let
right,
me
all right, Miss
save this
Bo.
site.
Yeah, hey, make sure you don't lose that presentation right there. We got to come back and look at that housing thing. That's
Yeah, I just bookmarked it. I just bookmarked it. We gonna get it in. We'll get into this. I'm gonna find me a I'm gonna give you some more. It's starting to get my little antennas back up to where I wanted to go with this information. So I was like, I gotta get my template going. But yeah. All right, y'all. Go and knock off in these streets.
the house. Hey, Brandon Bongiorno, CC Benny.
Is he texting in the chat? What he said in the chat? He said so crazy. Let me let me stop. Let me stop the live. Peace, power, and
Yeah.
profit, you guys. Let me stop. I want to stop the live so I can hear what Brandon got to